The holographic image flickered in the center of the conference room. Captain Taemin Choi stood with his hands behind his back, watching the alien faces stare down at him. There were 12 of them, each representing a different species from across the galaxy. Their eyes, some with 3 pupils and others glowing like dim stars, showed no emotion as they looked at the humans gathered below. High Chancellor Vorath sat in the middle of the council. His skin was pale blue, and his head was twice the size of a human's. When he spoke, his voice came through the translator with a cold, mechanical tone. "We have reviewed Earth's petition for membership in the Galactic Dominion," Vorath said. His long fingers tapped against the armrest of his floating chair. "The Council has reached a decision." Taemin felt his jaw tighten. Behind him stood General Hyejin Park, her uniform pressed and perfect. Next to her was Dr. Minho Kim, the lead scientist from Seoul's Advanced Weapons Laboratory. They had spent 3 months preparing for this moment. 3 months of hope that humanity would finally have a place among the stars. "Your species shows certain qualities that are admirable," Vorath continued. "However, after careful evaluation, we must decline your petition at this time." The words hit like a physical blow. Taemin saw Hyejin's hand curl into a fist. Minho's face went pale. "Your technology is primitive," another council member said. This one had 4 arms and spoke with a clicking sound between words. "Your fusion reactors are outdated by our standards. You have no faster-than-light travel capability. You are confined to a single planet with only basic colonies on your neighboring worlds." "We are advancing every day," Taemin said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Our scientists have made breakthroughs in energy production and propulsion systems. Given time and access to Dominion knowledge, we could contribute significantly to the galactic community." Vorath held up one long finger. "Captain Choi, we understand your passion, but you must understand our position. The Dominion consists of 847 species. Each one joined only after reaching a minimum threshold of technological and military capability. Earth has not reached that threshold." A holographic display appeared next to Vorath. Numbers and graphs filled the air. "Your military assessment rating is .003 on the Dominion scale. This means a single Dominion patrol ship could neutralize your entire planetary defense fleet. We cannot accept members who would require protection rather than contribute to our collective strength." "So you are denying us because we are weak?" Hyejin asked, stepping forward. "How are we supposed to grow stronger if you refuse to share knowledge with us?" "You will grow at your own pace," Vorath replied, "as all species must. When you have developed faster than light travel, when your military capabilities have improved, when you have expanded beyond your single-star system, then we will reconsider your petition." "How long will that take?" Minho asked. Vorath tilted his massive head. "Based on our projections of your current development rate, approximately 300 of your Earth years. Perhaps less if you prove exceptionally innovative." 300 years. Taemin felt the weight of those words. Everyone in this room would be dead. Their children would be dead. Perhaps even their grandchildren. "We will check on your progress periodically," Vorath said, as if he was doing them a favor. "Continue your development in isolation. Do not attempt to contact Dominion vessels or enter Dominion space. When you are ready, you may petition again." The holographic image disappeared. The room fell into heavy silence. Taemin turned to face Hyejin and Minho. The general's face was stone, but her eyes burned with something dangerous. Minho looked like he might be sick. 300 years, Minho whispered. "They expect us to wait 300 years. They dismissed us like children," Hyejin said quietly. "Like we are not worth their time." Taemin walked to the window. Outside, the city of Geneva stretched toward the horizon. Ships lifted off from the spaceport in the distance, heading to Mars or the moon stations. Humanity had come so far in the last century. They had unified their world, ended wars, reached for the stars with hungry hands. And now they were told it was not enough. "What do we do now?" Minho asked. Hyejin was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled out her communication device. "I am calling an emergency meeting of the Earth Defense Council. Every military leader, Every top scientist, every engineer who has ever dreamed of the stars. I want them in Seoul within 24 hours. For what purpose? Taemin asked. To show the galaxy they made a mistake, Hyejin said. Her voice was calm, but there was fire underneath. They think we are too primitive. They think we are too weak. They think 300 years is how long it will take us to matter. She looked at both men with fierce determination. We are going to prove them wrong. The meeting in Seoul gathered 200 of Earth's brightest minds. They filled the underground conference hall that had been built for global crisis situations. Military officers in uniform sat next to scientists in lab coats. Engineers from every nation crowded around holographic displays. Hyejin stood at the front. You all know what happened. The Dominion rejected us. They called us primitive and weak. They told us to wait 300 years and maybe they would reconsider. Angry murmurs filled the room. I did not call you here to complain, Hyejin continued. I called you here to build. If they will not give us their technology, we will create our own. If they will not take us seriously, we will make them. Dr. Min-ho Kim stepped forward, projecting an image into the air above the crowd. It showed a ship unlike anything humanity had ever built. Sleek and dangerous, covered in angular armor plating. This is Project Titan's hammer, Min-ho said. A prototype warship that will use every breakthrough we have made in the last 50 years. No alien technology, no borrowed knowledge. Pure human engineering pushed to the absolute limit. The crowd leaned forward, studying the design. It will not have faster-than-light travel, Min-ho admitted. We have not solved that puzzle yet, but what it will have is speed, maneuverability, and weapons that the Dominion has never seen before. An engineer named Ji-won Lee stood up. She was young, but had already made a name for herself designing the Mars colony shield generators. You're talking about kinetic weapons, solid projectiles instead of energy beams. Exactly, Min-ho said, pointing at her. The Dominion uses energy shields on all their ships. Those shields are designed to disperse laser fire and plasma bursts. But what happens when you hit them with a solid chunk of metal moving at 15% the speed of light? Ji-won smiled slowly. The shield does nothing. The projectile goes right through. Precisely, Min-ho said. We also have breakthroughs in gravity manipulation, in armor that can heal itself, in AI systems that can think faster than any biological crew. We may not have their fancy warp drives, but we can build something they will not expect. Taemin stood and addressed the room. This will not be easy. We are talking about building a ship that can stand against forces that consider us insects. We are talking about technology that we will have to invent from scratch. It will take years. It will cost resources. Some of you may not live to see it completed. He paused, looking at each face in the crowd. But if we succeed, humanity will never be dismissed again. We will show the galaxy what we are capable of. Who is with us? Every hand in the room went up. 6 months later, construction began in Earth's largest orbital shipyard. The frame of the ship started to take shape piece by piece. Workers in spacesuits welded armor plating while engineers installed experimental systems that had never been tested outside of laboratories. They named it the HMS Defiance. Captain Taemin Choi watched from the observation deck as the ship grew. Beside him, Hyejin smiled for the first time since the rejection. They will regret dismissing us, she said quietly. Taemin nodded. Yes, they will. In the cold depths of space, the Defiance slowly came to life. And somewhere far away, the Galactic Dominion continued its business, having already forgotten about the primitive species on the small blue planet. That would be their mistake. 3 years had passed since the day of rejection. The orbital shipyard above Earth hummed with constant activity. Thousands of workers moved through the massive structure, building something the galaxy had never seen before. Dr. Min-ho Kim stood in his laboratory deep inside the Seoul research facility. Screens surrounded him, showing calculations and simulations that had taken months to perfect. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but he was smiling. It works, he said to his assistant. The gravity drive actually works. The assistant, a young woman named Sora Nam, looked at the numbers with wide eyes. Are you certain? The energy requirement seemed impossible. We found a way around it, Minho said, pulling up a three-dimensional model. The Dominion uses warp drives. They bend space to go faster than light. We cannot do that yet, but we discovered something else. He manipulated the model with his hands, showing waves of gravitational force. We compress gravity in front of the ship and release it behind. It creates a pulse like a wave pushing us forward. We cannot go faster than light, but we can accelerate and turn in ways that should be physically impossible. How fast? Sora asked. From 0 to 0.5 light speed in 3 seconds, and we can change direction at full speed without slowing down first. Sora stared at him. That would destroy any crew from the acceleration forces. Not if the ship's internal gravity system compensates instantly, Minho said. Which it does. I tested it last week with the prototype unit. Sent a live mouse through a series of extreme maneuvers. The mouse was fine. Actually, the mouse seemed to enjoy it. Across the city, engineer Jiwan Lee was solving a different problem. She stood in front of a massive test chamber where a piece of hull armor was being bombarded with laser fire. The armor glowed red, then white, then started to cool. The damaged sections visibly repaired themselves, the metal flowing like liquid to fill the gaps. Nanomaterial integration is stable, Jiwan said to her team. The self-healing process takes approximately 4 seconds for a hole up to 30 centimeters wide. Larger damage takes longer but will still repair itself as long as the power core provides energy. A military observer, Commander Deho Shin, watched with approval. What about kinetic impacts? If something solid hits the hull? Watch, Jiwan said. She pressed a button and a metal projectile fired at the armor plate at high speed. The moment before impact, the armor rippled. The surface became softer, absorbing the impact, then immediately hardened again. The projectile bounced off. Reactive armor, Jiwan explained. The nanomaterial senses incoming projectiles and adjusts its density in microseconds. Soft to absorb the blow, then hard to maintain structural integrity. Deho smiled. The Dominion has never seen anything like this. That is the idea, Jiwan said. In another facility, the weapons team worked on the kinetic cannons. Weapons Officer Junho Park supervised the test personally. He had volunteered for the Defiance crew the day recruitment began. His brother had died 2 years ago, when a Dominion patrol ship had destroyed a human exploration vessel that had accidentally crossed into their space. Junho wanted revenge, but more than that, he wanted to make sure it never happened again. Magnetic acceleration rails are charged, a technician reported. Target is in position. Fire, Junho ordered. The cannon released a projectile no bigger than a human fist. It accelerated down a 300-meter rail, building speed until it was moving at nearly 50,000 kilometers per second. At the end of the range, it struck a test target made of the same material as Dominion ship hulls. The projectile went through the target like it was paper. It kept going, passing through 3 more reinforced barriers before finally stopping. Junho nodded slowly. Energy shields are useless against this. They are designed to stop lasers and plasma, but you cannot stop solid matter moving this fast. What about armor? The technician asked. Armor helps, Junho admitted, but at these speeds even reinforced armor can be penetrated. The key is hitting them before they can react. The most controversial addition to the Defiance was the artificial intelligence system. Many people feared giving a machine too much control, but the AI's designer, a quiet programmer named Seijin, had created something remarkable. She is not just a computer, Seijin explained to Captain Taemin Choi during a demonstration. She can learn, adapt, and make decisions in real time. I named her after myself, Seijin. Can she be trusted? Taemin asked. She has one primary directive, Seijin said. Protect the crew and complete the mission. Everything else is secondary. She cannot harm humans. She cannot allow humans to be harmed through inaction. And she must preserve herself unless doing so conflicts with the first 2 rules. Taemin watched as the AI processed simulated battle scenarios. Seijin's avatar appeared on the screen, a simple geometric pattern that pulsed when she spoke. Captain Choi, the AI said, I am designed to process 10,000 battlefield variables simultaneously. Human reaction time is approximately 200 milliseconds. Mine is 0.01 milliseconds. In combat, this difference will save lives. Show me, Taemin said. The simulation ran. Enemy ships appeared from multiple directions. Before Taemin could even register the threat, Seijin had already calculated firing solutions, adjusted the ship's position, and activated defensive systems. The entire sequence took less than a second. I am not meant to replace human command, Sajin said. I am meant to give you time to make the right decisions. Taman slowly smiled. Welcome to the crew, Sajin. The Defiance's crew was selected from thousands of volunteers. Captain Taman personally interviewed each candidate. He chose people not just for their skills, but for their ability to handle the unknown. Pilot Yuna Han was the first one he selected. She had been a test pilot for experimental aircraft and had survived crashes that should have killed her. When Taman asked why she wanted the position, she simply said, "Because someone needs to show them we can fly." Communications specialist Yoonji Yoon was a linguist who could speak 17 alien languages. She had studied every piece of Dominion communication they had ever intercepted. "If we are going to change the galaxy's mind about us," she told Taman, "we need to be able to talk to them." Medical Officer Tae Jin-oh was a combat medic who had served in the last of Earth's unified military operations. He had a philosophical nature that balanced his practical skills. "Someone needs to keep everyone alive and sane," he said with a gentle smile. 3 years after construction began, the Defiance was ready for its first test flight. The ship detached from the orbital shipyard and drifted into open space. Inside, the crew took their positions. All systems showing green, Sora reported from the engineering station. "Weapons are online," Junho said. "Navigation ready," Yuna said, her hands resting lightly on the controls. "AI systems fully operational." Sajin's voice came through the speakers. Taman sat in the captain's chair, feeling the weight of the moment. 3 years of work. Hundreds of people's hopes and dreams. All of it came down to whether this ship could do what they claimed. "Take us out," Taman ordered. "Beyond the moon. Let us see what she can do." The Defiance moved smoothly away from Earth. When they reached open space, Taman gave the order to test the gravity drive. "Engaging drive," Yuna said. 3, 2, 1. The ship leaped forward. Inside, no one felt anything except a slight vibration. Outside, the Defiance accelerated so fast it seemed to vanish. Within seconds, they had covered distances that would normally take hours. "Drive is stable," Sora called out. "No structural stress, all systems nominal." Yuna laughed with pure joy. "This is incredible. I can turn, I can flip, I can do things that should not be possible." For 2 weeks, they tested every system. The weapons performed beyond expectations. The armor healed itself repeatedly. Sajin coordinated everything with perfect timing. The Defiance was not just a ship. It was a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had ever encountered. On the 12th day of testing, they detected a Dominion scout ship in the outer solar system. It was conducting routine surveys, completely unaware of what humanity had built. "Should we engage?" Junyo asked, his hand hovering over the weapons controls. Taman shook his head. "No, not yet. We are not ready for that. But scan them. Let Sajin analyze their technology." The Defiance moved closer, staying in the shadow of an asteroid. Sajin's sensors swept over the Dominion ship, recording everything. A message came from the alien vessel. Yoonji translated. "They have detected us. They are saying, 'Primitive human vessel detected. Your fusion core is quaint. Please do not interfere with Dominion operations.'" The crew was silent. Then Junho spoke quietly. "They are still calling us primitive." "Yes," Taman said. "For now. But that will change." Before returning to Earth, Taman sent a formal message to Dominion Space. It was simple and direct. "Earth requests dialogue and reconsideration of membership status. We have made significant advances in technology and military capability." The response took 3 weeks. When it came, it was automated and cold. "Your petition has been noted. Current status irrelevant. Expected review, 287 standard years." They had not even looked at the message. A computer had generated the response. Back in her office, General Heejin Park reviewed the test data. Everything had exceeded their hopes. The Defiance was operational and more powerful than they had dared to dream. The emergency signal came at 3 in the morning, Earth Standard Time. Captain Taemin Choi was pulled from sleep by the urgent beeping of his communicator. He answered immediately, his voice still rough with sleep. "Captain, this is General Park. We have a situation." Taemin was already pulling on his uniform. "What happened?" "The New Horizon has been seized by a Dominion enforcement fleet. 12,000 civilians are being held." The words hit Taemin like cold water. The New Horizon was a civilian transport. carrying families to the growing Mars colonies. Teachers, engineers, children. Not military personnel, not a threat to anyone. On what grounds? Taman asked, already running toward the transit station. They claim the transport violated restricted space. We had no knowledge of any restrictions in that area. They are calling it a trespass into Dominion territory. Within an hour, the United Earth Council was in emergency session. Holographic images of world leaders filled the council chamber. Their faces showed shock, anger, and fear. We must demand their immediate release, the European representative said. These are innocent civilians. We have demanded their release, General Hyejin Park replied. 3 times in the last 2 hours. The Dominion has not responded to any of our messages. Then we send another message, someone else said. We make it clear this is unacceptable. They already know it is unacceptable, Taman said quietly. They just do not care. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what he meant. The Dominion had taken human civilians because they believed humanity could not do anything about it. It was a message, clear and brutal. You are weak. You do not matter. We can do whatever we want. We have to respond, the Asian Union representative said. If we do nothing, they will see it as permission to do worse. And if we respond with force? The African Coalition representative asked. We have 1 ship. They have thousands. Is the Defiance truly capable of facing a Dominion fleet? All eyes turned to Taman. He thought about the last 3 years. The testing, the training, the constant improvements. He thought about his crew, each one of them ready to face the unknown. The Defiance was built for this exact moment, Taman said, to show the Dominion that humanity can defend itself. If we do not act now, then everything we have built means nothing. Dr. Minho Kim spoke from his seat at the Science Advisory Panel. The ship is ready. The crew is ready. But I must be honest. We have never faced actual combat. All of our tests were simulations and controlled scenarios. So this will be the real test, Hyejin said. She looked at Taman. Captain, do you believe you can bring our people home? Taman met her eyes. Yes, the vote was taken. The decision was unanimous. Deploy the Defiance. 6 hours later, the crew assembled in the Defiance's briefing room. They had been recalled from leave, pulled from families and homes. No one complained. They all knew what was at stake. Taman stood at the front, projecting an image of the New Horizons' last known position. 12,000 civilians are being held by a Dominion enforcement fleet at the Antares border zone. Our mission is to secure their release and bring them home safely. What are we facing? Junyo asked. Taman pulled up intelligence data. 1 Dreadnought-class capital ship. The Eternal Justice, 6 cruiser-class warships, 15 fighter wings, approximately 240 fighters total. Pilot Yuna Han whistled low. That is a lot of firepower. They are not expecting us, Taman said. They believe we are primitive. They believe we are weak. That is our advantage. Medical Officer Taijin O raised his hand. What if they refuse to release the civilians even after we arrive? Then we make them, Taman said simply. The room was quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. This might be the day humanity went to war with the Galactic Dominion. Communications specialist Yoonji Yoon spoke up. I have been monitoring Dominion transmissions. The fleet commander is named Zelthos. He is from the Kryn species. They are known for being arrogant and dismissive of what they consider lesser races. So he is perfect for this situation, Yuna said with dark humor. He is also experienced, Yoonji continued. He has commanded enforcement fleets for 30 years. He has never lost a ship in combat. There is a first time for everything, Junho said quietly. Before they departed, a data package arrived from Dr. Minho Kim. It contained theoretical calculations for using the gravity drive as a weapon. The idea was simple but dangerous. Reverse the drive's function to create a gravitational shear wave. The wave could potentially tear apart anything in its path. The problem, Minho's message explained, is that we have never tested this. It could destroy the target. It could do nothing. Or it could destroy the Defiance itself. Use it only as a last resort. Chief Engineer Sora Nam read the data and went pale. This is insane. The power requirements alone could overload our core. Mark it as emergency protocol only, Taman ordered. We will not use it unless we have no other choice. The journey to the Antares border zone took 6 days at maximum sublight speed. The crew used the time to prepare. Junyo ran weapons drills. Yuna practiced impossible maneuvers in the simulator. Taejin stocked medical supplies and prepared for casualties. Yoonji studied every piece of Dominion communication protocol she could find. Taemin spent the time reviewing every scenario. Victory, defeat, stalemate. He planned for all of them. But deep in his heart, he knew this moment would define humanity's future, when and they would be taken seriously. Lose and Earth might face retaliation. On the 6th day, they arrived at the Antares border zone. The Dominion fleet was exactly where intelligence had reported. The massive dreadnought hung in space like a small moon. The 6 cruisers formed a protective formation around it. Fighters patrolled in wide circles, and there, held in a tractor beam, was the New Horizon. "Scan for life signs," Taemin ordered. Sejin's voice came through the speakers. "All 12,000 civilians are aboard the New Horizon. Life support is stable. They appear unharmed." "Open a channel to the Dominion flagship," Taemin said. Yoonji worked her console. "Channel open. They are receiving." Commander Zelthos appeared on the main screen. He was reptilian, with green scales and yellow eyes. When he saw the Defiance, his expression was one of amusement. "A human vessel," Zelthos said, his voice hissing slightly. "How quaint. You have come to beg for your people, I assume." "I have come to bring them home," Taemin said calmly. "Release them immediately," Zelthos laughed. It was a cold, harsh sound. "You are in no position to make demands, human. Your ship is alone. You face an entire enforcement fleet. I suggest you power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Your primitive vessel will make an interesting museum piece." "You have one more chance," Taemin said. "Release our people." "Scan their ship," Zelthos ordered one of his officers. "Show these humans why they should fear us." A moment later, an officer reported, "Their power output is minimal, Commander. Their weapons appear to be kinetic-based projectiles. No energy shields detected. Threat assessment negligible." Zelthos smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "You see, Captain? You are nothing. You are weapons-free," Taemin said to his crew. Junho's hands moved across his controls. The kinetic cannon charged. He selected the nearest cruiser, one that had not even bothered to raise its shields. "Target locked," Junho said. "Fire." The kinetic round left the cannon at 15% light speed. It crossed the distance between the ships in 1.3 seconds. The Dominion cruiser's sensors detected something, but there was no time to react. The projectile hit the cruiser's hull and punched through it like it was made of paper. It entered one side of the ship and exited the other, leaving a perfect circular tunnel through the vessel's core. Atmosphere and debris exploded from both holes. For 3 seconds, there was absolute silence across all communication channels. Then chaos erupted. All ships. "Shields up! Shields up!" Zelthos was screaming. "Return fire. Destroy that ship!" The Dominion fleet scrambled to respond. Shields flickered to life. Cruisers turned to bring their weapons to bear. Fighter wings broke formation and swarmed toward the Defiance. Taemin's voice was calm. "Yuna, evasive maneuvers. Junyo, target the next cruiser. Sejin, take control of point defense systems." "Engaging," Yuna said. Her hands moved and the Defiance leaped forward. The gravity drive flared to life. The ship moved in ways that should have been impossible. It turned 90 degrees without slowing down. It accelerated, stopped, and reversed direction in the space of a heartbeat. The Dominion fighters tried to track it, but they were chasing shadows. Junho fired again. Another cruiser took a kinetic round through its core. This one had shields up, but the shields were designed for energy weapons. The solid projectile passed through them like they were not even there. 2 cruisers down, Junho reported. Sejin's calm voice filled the bridge. 120 fighters approaching. Engaging point defense, the Defiance's railgun turrets came to life. They were smaller versions of the main kinetic cannon, firing hundreds of rounds per second. Sejin calculated trajectories, predicted movements, and compensated for every variable in microseconds. Fighters began exploding. 1, 5, 10, 20. The Dominion pilots could not believe what they were seeing. No ship should be able to track and destroy targets this quickly. What are they? One pilot screamed over the open channel. What is this ship? The New Horizon drifted free of the tractor beam, its engines coming back online. Inside the Defiance, the crew watched as the civilian transport slowly turned toward home. But Captain Taemin Choi knew this was not over. Commander Zelthos had ordered a retreat, but the dreadnought Eternal Justice still hung in space, its weapons still active. Captain, Sajin's voice came through the speakers. The dreadnought is charging weapons again. I believe they intend to fire on the New Horizon. Taemon's jaw tightened. Of course they would. Zelthos had been humiliated. He would not let the civilians escape to tell the story of his defeat. Yuna, put us between the dreadnought and the transport, Taemon ordered. The Defiance surged forward, positioning itself as a shield. The massive plasma cannons on the Eternal Justice glowed bright blue as they reached full charge. All power to forward armor, Chief Engineer Sora Nam called out, redirecting nanomaterial to the front hull. They are firing, Weapons Officer Junho shouted. 3 massive plasma beams shot across space, converging on the Defiance. The ship shuddered as incredible heat washed over the hull. The view screen went white for a moment. Alarms blared throughout the bridge. Hull temperature at critical levels, Sora reported, her voice strained. Nanomaterial is holding, but barely. Another hit like that and we will have serious damage. The New Horizon? Taemon asked. Clear, Pilot Yunahan said. They are accelerating away at maximum speed. Good. The civilians were safe. Now Taemon could focus on the threat in front of him. Junho, target the dreadnought's weapon batteries. Disable them. On it, Junho said. His fingers flew across the controls. The kinetic cannons fired in rapid succession. Each shot was precisely aimed. One by one, the dreadnought's massive gun turrets exploded as projectiles tore through them. Their main weapons are down, Junho reported. But they still have secondary batteries and they are launching more fighters. How many fighters do they have left? Commander Daeho Shin asked from his tactical station. Approximately 100, Sajin answered. However, their formation is disorganized. They appear to be operating without clear command structure. That made sense. The Dominion had never faced an enemy like this. Their doctrine was based on overwhelming firepower and superior technology. They had no experience with fighting a smaller, faster opponent. Sajin, continue point defense operations, Taemon ordered. Target the fighters. Yuna, bring us around the dreadnought. Use it as cover from the remaining cruisers. The Defiance danced through space and the few remaining Dominion fighters could not keep up. Sajin's point defense system continued its deadly work. Every few seconds, another fighter exploded. Inside the Eternal Justice, Zelthos watched his fleet fall apart. He had started this engagement with overwhelming superiority. Now half his ships were destroyed and the rest were running, and this single human vessel was still fighting. Get me reinforcements, he screamed at his communications officer. Contact the nearest patrol fleet. Tell them we are under attack by an unknown enemy. Commander, another officer said hesitantly. Should we not simply retreat? We have no weapons left. We cannot win this battle. Zelthos turned on him, fury in his yellow eyes. Retreat? And let them spread word of our defeat? No. If we cannot destroy them, we will ram them. Set collision course with the human ship. The massive dreadnought turned, its engines pushing it toward the Defiance. It was a desperate move, but Zelthos was beyond reason. He would destroy this human vessel even if it cost him his own ship and crew. Captain, Yuna said, seeing the dreadnought's new trajectory. They are going to ram us. Taemon watched the massive ship bearing down on them. The Eternal Justice was 30 times larger than the Defiance. If it hit them, the collision would destroy both vessels, Sora, Taemon said calmly. How is the gravity drive? There was a pause. Sora understood immediately what he was asking. Captain, if you are thinking what I think you are thinking, I must advise against it. The theoretical weapon Dr. Kim proposed is untested. It could destroy us. Or it could save us, Taemon said. Can we do it? Sora was quiet for a moment. Then she said, yes, but we need 30 seconds to reconfigure the drive. And we will only get one shot. After that, the drive will need to cool down for at least 10 minutes. Do it, Taemon ordered. Yuna, keep us ahead of that dreadnought. Buy Sora the time she needs. Yuna's hands moved across her controls and the Defiance leaped forward. The dreadnought followed, picking up speed. It was slower than the human ship, but it was determined. 20 seconds, Sora called out. They are gaining, Yuna said. The dreadnought was pushing its engines beyond safe limits. Pieces of its hull were starting to glow from the heat. 15 seconds. Taemon watched the distance close. If they did not time this perfectly, the dreadnought would hit them before they could fire. 10 seconds, Captain. Medical Officer Taejin O said from his station. Whatever you are planning, I hope it works. I am not equipped to treat the entire crew for explosive decompression. Despite the tension, several crew members smiled. 5 seconds. Yuna, full stop, Taemon ordered. Rotate 180 degrees. Face them. Are you insane? Yuna asked, but her hands were already moving. The Defiance stopped its forward motion and spun to face the oncoming dreadnought. Now! Sora shouted. The drive is ready. The two ships rushed toward each other. On the view screen, the Eternal Justice filled the entire view, growing larger by the second. Fire, Taman said. The gravity drive reversed its function. Instead of compressing gravity in front of the ship, it created a focused gravitational shear wave. The air itself seemed to ripple as space distorted. The invisible wave shot forward and hit the Eternal Justice at point-blank range. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the dreadnought began to tear itself apart. The gravitational wave created impossible stresses on the ship's structure. Metal screamed. Hull plates ripped away from their supports. The ship that had been bearing down on them with deadly intent suddenly split down the middle, like a piece of paper torn in half. The two halves of the Eternal Justice drifted past the Defiance on either side, debris and atmosphere streaming from the destroyed vessel. The bridge of the Defiance was silent. No one could quite believe what they had just witnessed. Did we just... Yuna started. Yes, Taman said quietly. Yes, we did. Captain, Communications Specialist Yoon said, her voice shaking slightly. I am detecting hundreds of emergency transmissions on Dominion frequencies. They are requesting reinforcements, reporting casualties, and they are asking what kind of weapon we used. What about the remaining cruisers and fighters? Taman asked. They are retreating at maximum speed, Deho reported. They want nothing to do with us. Taman nodded. The battle was over. They had won. Damage report, he said. Forward hull took heavy damage from those plasma beams, Sora said. The nanomaterial is repairing it, but it will take several hours for full restoration. The gravity drive is offline for cooling. Other than that, all systems are functional. Casualties? None, Tajan said. Minor injuries only. Nothing serious. Taman let out a breath he had not realized he was holding. They had faced an entire Dominion fleet and not lost a single crew member. Yoonji opened a secure channel to the New Horizon. Make sure they are okay. A moment later, the captain of the New Horizon appeared on screen. She was an older woman with tears streaming down her face. Thank you. Thank you. You saved us. All of us. Just doing our job, Taman said with a small smile. Get home safely. Before they left the battlefield, Taman recorded a message. Yoonji would broadcast it directly to the Dominion Council chambers, bypassing all normal communication channels. This is Captain Taman Choi of the Earth Defense Ship Defiance. You took our people because you believed we could not stop you. You were wrong. You dismissed us as primitive and irrelevant. You were wrong about that too. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. Earth is not asking for permission anymore. We are not begging to be taken seriously. We are telling you how things are going to be. Humanity demands a seat at the Galactic Council. Not in 300 years now. He leaned forward slightly. We will be waiting for your response. And I suggest you do not keep us waiting too long. The message ended. Yoonji sent it with military-grade encryption that would ensure it reached the highest levels of Dominion government. Now what? Yuna asked. Now we go home, Taman said, and we prepare for whatever comes next. The Defiance turned toward Earth. Behind them, the wreckage of 4 cruisers and a dreadnought drifted in the void. The survivors would spread the story of what happened here. How a single human ship had destroyed an enforcement fleet. As they traveled, Yoonji monitored Dominion communications. The chatter was incredible. Emergency signals, panic, confusion. Ships all across the border were going to high alert. They are scared, Yoonji said softly. They have never been scared before. Good, Junho said. He thought of his brother, killed by a Dominion ship that never faced consequences. Let them be scared. Let them understand what it feels like to be the weaker one. We are not doing this for revenge, Taejin said quietly. We are doing this so no one else has to feel that fear. Not humans. Not anyone. The crew was quiet, thinking about his words. Days later, the Defiance entered Earth's orbit. The warning came 3 days after the Defiance returned to Earth. Intelligence satellites detected massive energy signatures at the edge of known space. Ships, hundreds of them. All heading in one direction, toward Earth. General Hyejin Park stood in the command center watching the tactical display with growing concern. The numbers kept climbing. 50 ships, 100, 200. It was the largest military fleet anyone had ever seen assembled in one place. "They are not coming to negotiate," she said quietly. Captain Taman Choi stood beside her. He had been promoted to fleet commander after the victory at Antares. Now he stared at the display and felt a cold weight in his stomach. "How long until they arrive?" he asked. 3 months, a tactical officer reported. "Maybe less if they push their engines. 3 months. Taman thought about the Defiance. 1 ship against an armada. It would not be enough. "We need more ships," he said. Dr. Minho Kim was already ahead of him. "We have been working on that since you left. We have the blueprints. We have the materials. But building ships this advanced takes time. How many can you complete in 3 months?" Minho pulled up construction schedules. 4, maybe 5 if we work around the clock and cut some corners on non-essential systems. 5 ships. Taman did the math. 5 against 200. The odds were impossible. "Do it," Hyejin ordered. "Build everything you can. We will face them with whatever we have." The entire world mobilized. Every shipyard, every factory, every resource was directed toward one goal. Build ships. Build weapons. Prepare for war. The new ships were named quickly. HMS Retribution, HMS Vengeance, HMS Resolute, HMS Unyielding, each one identical to the Defiance, each one crewed by volunteers who knew they might be flying toward their deaths. Captain Yuna Han was promoted and given command of the Retribution. Weapons Officer Junho Park took the Vengeance. Engineer Jiwon Lee oversaw construction while Chief Engineer Sora Nam prepared the Resolute. Commander Daeho Shin received the Unyielding. They trained together, learning to fight as a fleet. 5 ships moving as one, coordinating their attacks, covering each other's weaknesses. It was beautiful to watch. But Taman knew it would not be enough. On the 75th day of preparation, something unexpected happened. A message arrived from deep space. The encryption was not Dominion. It was something else entirely. Communications specialist Yoon Ji-yoon played the message in the command center. The face that appeared was not human. It had large eyes and pale skin that seemed to glow softly. The translator struggled with the language at first, then locked on. "My name is Dr. Velis. I am a scientist of the Threll species. We have been watching your conflict with the Dominion. What you did at Antares gave hope to many oppressed species throughout the galaxy." The message continued. "I am sending you this information at great personal risk. The Dominion Armada has a weakness. Their dreadnoughts use centralized power cores. If struck with sufficient kinetic force in a specific location, the core will overload and destroy the ship." A technical diagram appeared, showing the internal structure of a Dominion dreadnought. A single point was highlighted near the center of the vessel. "I cannot help you more than this," Dr. Velis said, "but know that you are not alone. There are others who pray for your victory. Good luck, humans," the message ended. Taman stared at the diagram. It was a blueprint for victory, but it required precision strikes on heavily defended targets. 1 ship could maybe take down 1 dreadnought, but there would be 15 dreadnoughts in the Armada. "We need to share this with all the crews," he said. "If we can coordinate our attacks, target the cores simultaneously, we might be able to take down multiple dreadnoughts at once." Minho studied the diagram. "The precision required will be difficult. We are talking about hitting a target 3 meters wide on a ship 5 kilometers long, while the ship is moving, while they are shooting at us. That is why we have Seijin and the other AIs," Sora said. "They can calculate trajectories we cannot. It was not much of a plan. But it was something. The days counted down. The Armada drew closer. Every human on Earth knew what was coming. Some were scared. Some were defiant. Most were both. On day 90, the 5 ships of Earth's defense fleet launched. They took positions in the outer solar system, forming a defensive line between the approaching Armada and Earth. Taman stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking at the holographic displays showing his fleet. 5 ships, 5 crews, against an enemy that outnumbered them 40 to 1. "Final systems check," he ordered. Each ship reported in. "All systems green. All weapons ready. All crews prepared. Good," Taman said. "No matter what happens today, I want you all to know it has been an honor to serve with you." His communicator lit up with responses from the other ships. Yuna's voice came through. "The honor is ours, Fleet Commander. Let us show them what humans can do." The Armada arrived on day 93. They emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. The tactical display lit up with contact markers. 15 dreadnoughts, 60 cruisers, 200 support vessels, 2,000 fighters. It was overwhelming. It was terrifying. It was exactly what Taman had expected. The Dominion fleet formed into a massive wall of ships, advancing slowly toward Earth. At the center, flying from the largest dreadnought, was the personal flag of Grand Admiral Corthan. He was a legend in the Dominion, a commander who had never lost a battle. A transmission came through. Corthan's face appeared on all screens. He looked almost human, but his skin was pale gray and his eyes were completely black. "People of Earth," Corthan said. His voice was smooth and cold. "Your defiance ends today. You have humiliated the Dominion. You have destroyed our ships. You have challenged the natural order of the galaxy. For this there is only one punishment." He paused. "Surrender now and your deaths will be swift. Your planet will be left intact for colonization. Resist and we will reduce your world to ash. You have 1 hour to decide." The transmission ended. Taman looked at his crew. They were young. Many of them had families on Earth. They had every reason to be afraid, but their faces showed only determination. "Yunji," Taman said, "open a channel to the Armada. All frequencies." She worked her controls. "Channel open." Taman spoke clearly. "Grand Admiral Corthan, this is Fleet Commander Taman Choi of Earth. We have received your message. Here is our response." He smiled. "Come and try." The channel closed. For a moment there was silence across the vast distance of space. Then the Dominion Armada began to move forward, weapons charging. "All ships," Taman broadcast to his fleet. "Execute Pattern Delta. Target dreadnought cores as planned. Trust your AIs. Trust each other. And remember why we are here." He took a breath. "For Earth, for humanity. For everyone who ever dared to dream of the stars. For Earth," 5 crews shouted back. The Battle of Sol began. The 5 human ships did not charge forward in a heroic last stand. They used tactics. They used speed. They used intelligence. The Defiance and Retribution swept wide, drawing fire from the cruisers on the flanks. The Vengeance and Resolute targeted the Dreadnought's support vessels, cutting them off from the main fleet. The Unyielding moved through the formation like a ghost, striking at weak points and disappearing before return fire could hit. The Dominion fighters swarmed forward, 2,000 strong. But Sajin and the other AIs coordinated point defense across all 5 ships. They created overlapping fields of fire. Fighters exploded in waves. Within 10 minutes, half the Dominion fighter wings were gone. "Their fighters are ineffective," Junho reported from the Vengeance. Moving to primary targets, the human ships began targeting dreadnought cores. It was incredibly difficult. The dreadnoughts were massive and well defended. Energy shields deflected or dispersed attacks. Point defense systems destroyed incoming projectiles. And all the while, the dreadnoughts fired back with devastating plasma weapons. The Defiance took a direct hit. The hull buckled. Alarms blared. Sora fought to keep systems online while nanomaterial worked frantically to repair the damage. "We cannot take many more hits like that," she called out. "Then we do not get hit," Yuna said, pushing the ship through a series of impossible maneuvers. The battle raged for an hour. Ships on both sides took damage. The human fleet was holding its own, but they were not winning. The Dominion had too many ships, too much firepower. Then something unexpected happened. New contacts appeared on the tactical display. Ships emerging from faster-than-light travel. But they were not Dominion. "Identifying new arrivals," Sajin reported. "I am detecting Threll signatures and others, multiple species, all broadcasting friendly identification codes." Dr. Velis appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Taman could see the bridge of an alien warship. "Forgive our late arrival, Fleet Commander Choi. We were delayed by Dominion patrols, but we are here now." Tears formed in Taman's eyes. "You came. You gave us hope," Velis said simply. "Now we fight beside you." 17 species. Small fleets from races that had been oppressed by the Dominion for centuries. They were not as advanced as the Dominion. Their ships were older, their weapons weaker. But they had numbers, and they had courage. The tide began to turn. The Allied forces coordinated with Earth's fleet. They overwhelmed Dominion cruisers. They protected the human ships from fighter attacks. They created openings for precision strikes on dreadnought cores. One by one,